Hello everyone, welcome to Binary Broom. In this session we are going to be talking about the strings, about how are we going to use strings, some tricks, some tips, and some useful stuff about them and how to work with them. Okay, first of all, let me answer the practice of the previous session. It was pretty simple, nothing much to discuss here. We get an input and we just print it inside in between of other strings that we need, like welcome and this exclamation mark. And in the second practice that we had, we wanted to print the sum of two input numbers. Well, the point of it was that we are going to get those numbers, but the type of those numbers are going to be in string. So what we need to do here is to convert those strings into integers, and then we are going to calculate the sum of them, and we print that sum. That's the whole practice that we had in the previous session. Today we are going to be talking about strings. First of all, how are we going to declare these strings? Well, there are generally two ways to do this. We can use double quotations and single quotations. There are not any difference for now about these two. You can use both. And actually, one of the differences that there is that if we are going to use quotes inside our string, for example, uh, we are going to use John inside here, and we want it to be between quotes, we shouldn't use the same quotes as we are using for string. It should be the other one. For example, if we are using double quotations for our string, we should use single quotes for the inside of it, and vice versa. So if we use the same, the compiler won't understand the start and the end of our string, and it's gonna give us error. The next tip that I'm going to give you here is that when our string is long, or we are going to use inter or the new line in our string, uh, usually using quotations or double quotations won't work. We need to use double quotations or single quotations 3 times in order to use inter or new line, so that we can have our string in multiple lines as long as we want, and we just declare the end of it using the same node that we started with, and that's our long string that contains new line inside it, and it has multiple lines and it doesn't matter. Another tip that we have here is that strings are actually arrays. What an array is that it is a sequence of characters or numbers depending on the type of the array. So array is a sequence of different stuff depending on the type of it. It could be a sequence of numbers or characters. Here in this case that we have, it is the sequence of characters. So for example, here we have H as the first character, E, 2 L's, and O for hello. And this is the way that it is stored. It is like an array which contains characters inside it, and each place that we have here has a number. The first place is 0, the second is 1, the third is 2, and it goes on like this. So if we want to access the first index, or in other words, the first character of what we want to use, we should use 0. If we want to use the second one, we can use 1 here, and it's gonna return the second character of our string. As you can see, E is returned and printed here, which means the second character of this string that we have is E, which is correct. That's the way to use to access a specific letter inside the string, and we can use it anywhere. We just printed it here. Another tip that we have is the length of this string. So it might be used in our project. Actually, it happens a lot that we need length of our string to do something with it. So here there is a function in Python that does this for us quite easily. It is the len function. You just give the string to it and it's gonna return the length of it, and the length of a string is actually the number of characters inside it. So if I run this code, it's gonna return 11, and as we're going to count the characters, it's exactly 11. Well, if we start from the beginning, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And as you can see, we are counting the spaces or marks or anything else in this string because they are also counted as characters. And including all of them, we have 11 characters. And so we have an array including 11 indexes. And we can use each one of them as we saw in the previous step. Another thing that I wanted to mention here is that we can actually access a range of characters inside the string, which is called slicing. For example, here I'm actually accessing the first 5 characters inside this string, and I just want them to be printed, and I don't want the whole string here. So when I run this code, I just get hello, which is the 0 index until the 4th one. The 5th one is not printed actually. This is the way that we can slice strings. For example, if you want to do something else with the first part of this string, you can use this to slice your string into 2 separate parts. Actually, there's another thing here, which is we don't need to give it 2 numbers. We can just leave the other side empty, which means till the end. Here I said 2 till the end, which means the second character till the end will be printed and the first 2 characters will be removed. And when I run this, as you can see, the H and E are removed and the rest of the string is printed. There are also a lot of useful methods that are working on strings that can be used in our projects, which are pretty simple and help us to do stuff in less time and do not cost a lot of effort for us. But then one of those methods is the upper method. This method actually converts all of the characters inside the string into uppercase. And as you can see, the whole hello Mike thing is in uppercase and it's printed here. We don't need to print it, as I said in the previous tips. You can actually store it in a string in another variable, and you can use it wherever you want in whatever you want to use it with. Another useful method here is the lower method, which actually does quite the opposite of what the upper method does, and it gives the whole string in lowercase, and as you can see, it is printed in the lowercase. There are also a lot of other methods. For example, the strip method. This strip method is pretty useful when we have spaces in 2 sides of our string. For example, here before hello we have 2 spaces and we want to remove them. We can use this strip, which does remove spaces, actually white spaces, from the beginning and the end of our string, and helps us to keep everything neat and tidy. And here when I print the output, you can see the difference. 2 spaces are removed in the second output, which I used a strip in it. Another useful method here is the replace method. It is actually pretty useful for some projects that you're working on strings. And in this method, we are actually replacing a specific character with another. So here, for example, I'm replacing all the E characters inside this string with A. And when I print all this, as you can see, all the E inside this string that we had is totally replaced with A. Another way to use this method is actually to leave the second character empty. Here we can remove all E characters from our sentence, and what we get is a string that does not have any E characters inside it. Or we can remove all the spaces. For example, we can put a space character in the first one, which indicates that I don't want any E characters. I want all the space characters in my string to be replaced with nothing, which means remove them all. And as you can see, when I print it, the space between hello and Mike is removed, and we don't have any space here. And there are a lot of other useful methods that I include a link from an external website that has them all, and you can check it out for more information about other methods as well. Well, in the end, we have two ways to work with the strings to concatenate them and put them together. Well, the first one we actually saw in the previous session, we talked about it, which is the plus sign, like summing up two strings. But when both sides are a string, it actually puts those strings together. And as you can see, we have both the strings that are concatenated to each other. For example, we can add more stuff to it, like I can put space in between them, and put space, and when I run them, as you can see, we have a space between them. We can add more stuff here, and it does not have any difference. Another way to do it is actually formatting the strings. This F that we put in the beginning of each string means that we are going to use curly brackets somewhere in the string, which inside it we can actually put a code. Usually we just put a variable, which means that we want that variable to be placed in that place, but we actually can do some operations there. For example, in the second print that we have, we are actually doing this sum inside that string, and we put the result there. So when I print this output, you can see that the name is actually replaced with Mike, which is the value of that variable, and the whole string is converted into this. And in the second example, as you can see, the operation is actually calculated and the result is put into the string, and we can see it in the output. And there are a lot of other ways to work with the strings that we are going to look into in the future, but for starters, that's more than enough actually. And you just have to practice all these in different places just to remember them and know that they're available. As I said, I'm gonna put a link in the description about the other methods that are able on strings that you can use, and about the practice that we have for this session until the next one is that you're going to get a user's name, an input, make all its characters in uppercase, and then print two first characters of that name inside a string. Like the string could be a greeting string, like just hello, how are you? Do the same thing, but you have to print the first two strings, not the whole one. So keep that in mind, and good luck with that. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like the video if you find this content useful. Thanks for watching again. Have a nice day and goodbye.